Guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Deck Talk Podcast, and we've got one that is, I guarantee you, what what Randy has to say is probably going to shock y'all. I know it shocked us, but we're going to talk about some custom baits today, and we're going to go from freshwater to saltwater, and we're going to have a blast. But before we get going, let's take care of some business. On the night, on the water with Firefly Marine carbon fiber bow and stern light, telescoping USCG approved, no glare, fewer bugs, crystal clear visibility for safe and epic adventures. See it all at fireflymarine.com. Make sure you use the discount code DECKTALK10 and get you some product. I guarantee you it is well worth going and changing your navigational lights to Firefly Outdoor Marines. It is like fishing underneath a full moon. Um, but with that being said, I'm Colin Burnett.
I'm Pappy J. It's nice to be back on here, and I'm excited about this one.
Man, I tell you, we if you don't know, if you're not from the Chattanooga area, you probably will not know who Randy is with Lurch's Lures. He the founder and the owner of Lurch's Lures, and I tell you, we've been using some of his baits for. I've been using them for I don't know 8, 10 years, and I tell you, I love using them. Uh, but I've been my favorite. One of my favorite things is his underspins. I used to get tired of having underspins that the blade broke off on them, but I don't know what he uses on it. But they once I changed over to it was definitely a game changer. Um, but I'm sure Pappy's going to go and we're going to talk about more of the other baits of what Pappy's been able to throw them here in the past year and a half or so. But guys, if you don't know, this is Randy with Lurch's Lures. Thank you, brother, for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
So, Randy, I want to get started with um, how did you get started with started doing custom baits?
Well, it all started back in my tournament days when I just fishing all the time, just trying to alleviate some of the costs and everything. So then you start, well, let me do this. I can do that. You tie a jig here and there, and then try to make it a little bit better. Just put your spin on it, the same
Right.
thing, and then go out there. Then people start noticing it, and then it's like, hey, I'd like to buy some of those, and then it just
Mhm.
evolves from there. And then the next thing you know, you're going from fishing tournaments to making baits all the time.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like I've talked to you and I've called you up and you're like I was like, man, what's up? And you're like, man, I'm out here at the shop just and and I tell you, I can't remember. We had went. I guess I don't know if it was this past East Tennessee show or the year before, in which you were telling me like you were getting ready because I think what you were at the East Tennessee show. Your mom and dad took another booth down to Daytona or something like that, wasn't it?
Yes,
And
yes,
and you were like, man, you're like, I just got to get ready for. I have these two big shows coming up, and they were on the same week. And um, but what what has been like the bait that you enjoy making the most? That I mean, because you've got a wide spread of baits from where you've got some jigs to like spinner baits, and you also got some like soft plastic stuff as well. But you have gotten over the past 3 or 4 years, you've gotten into the hard baits, and you've kind of came back with painting your own baits and stuff like that. So,
yes.
what has been the most enjoyable baits that
Um,
you enjoy making?
I would say as far as making, that would be that vibrating jig. That's just
Oh man,
because it's so the vibration from it is so great and everything with that little piece of wire that we put in there because everybody looks at it, they're like, man,
This
that's
ain't doing
different.
nothing. It ain't
Yeah,
gonna
they're
do
like,
nothing.
this thing no, but then when they throw it, they're like, I haven't felt anything like that before. It thumps so much harder, and not knocking any other baits. I will never
No.
do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it just has just a different thump, and it just progressively gets better as it comes back as on the retrieve and everything.
Right.
Whenever you lose on a lot of vibrating jigs on the initial cast, whenever it hits the water, you feel a little bit and everything, and y'all have thrown it before and can agree that this one you feel the vibration from the first cast or the beginning of the cast all the way back. It just progressively gets we'll say worse and worse, better and
Well,
better on that one.
and usually like on I don't how am I going to say this? Cuz I don't want to bash nobody. I mean because um but let's just do like this. Your $15 vibrating jigs, sometimes they have a break in period to where you have to throw them before they really start acting right to where when I mean for me how I see if I like a vibrating jig is because I want to be able to turn that first full turn and start by the time that first turn is finished up I want to start feeling that vibration.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
some of them the vibrating jigs and stuff I have seen to where they have to have like a little break in period to where I guess to where it kind of rounds off or I really don't know why but it takes it a minute to be able to and a lot of times you can't get them to usually it's about 3-4 reels before it gets enough speed before they do start shimmering.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
um, and so I always used to be to where I wanted that blade close enough to the head. I wanted the vibration, but I also wanted that ticking
Right.
of it hitting the jig head. Until we started really throwing yours, but when we got in our hands here this past spring, we got some of those micro ones, and Pappy, and I'll let you go from there because we had a field day.
Yeah. That little dude right there. I tell you what. I don't know. Try to get the best. That little dude right there. Now you want to talk about vengeance, man. The first thing I noticed, Randy, as soon as I threw it, but it's not just with this one. It's been with all your blade jigs that I've thrown, or just blade lures in general. Uh, the vibration is different, and that's what I like. I like if I throw any kind of bladed lure, that's what I want. I want a good vibration, from the time it hits the water till the time I get it back to the boat. But that little jewel, I threw it out there on that first cast, and when I was cranking that thing back, I looked at Colin and I said, I want you to look at this. I mean, the vibration on that thing was unbelievable. My rod tip I got a medium heavy rod tip or medium heavy, uh, moderate, but I mean it was wreaking havoc on my rod tip. And by the second cast, I done had one in the boat. By the fourth cast, I done had another one in the boat, and I was like, okay, I'm sold right here. This little dude right here, and the good thing about it, it might be little, and you throw your little jig or a swim bait on it, and it'll cast forever. I mean, I was making long casts. It's got good weight to it. It's got good vibration. The hooks are nice and sticky. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's also got a little keeper right there on the end of it. I don't know, Colin, I threw this thing about all day, didn't I? I mean, it was hard for me to
Well,
put
I
it
could
down.
not, Randy. I was threatening him if he didn't stop catching fish on it, in which I I was to the point to where I had more. We had more in the boat, but I was going to take his off of his line just so I could just keep him from catching
Yeah.
fish. He was wearing me out, um, and so and every time he caught a fish, all I heard was household name, household name.
But now I do want to talk a little bit about the hook too. You know, the hook, to be a small profile hook and or just jig in itself, that hook is strong. I mean, it lasted. The point on it never got dull. Um, I mean, there's nothing I can say about this little setup that I would not. I mean, I would definitely recommend to anybody to throw this at any time. I mean, you know, I throw it all the time. Anytime we're out there, I throw it because I that's just how much confidence I've got in it, and I think you've done a heck of a job on that little dude right there. So what brought the idea on that one right
It
there?
was geared towards spots. We were looking at clear water and everything. You got to reduce the profile and all. We'd
Mm-hmm.
already had good luck with the other vibrating jigs and everything, but I wanted one without a skirt, and
Yeah.
so I put one of the. It's a trailer that I make and everything on there. It's just this little
Yeah.
old minnow type, just a flat side minnow, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just to get that little shimmy. But I didn't. I wanted to get uh, the vibration out of the blade, but I wanted the bait itself just have a little shimmy to it. So that's
Yeah.
kind of where the thought was and everything. So as that thing, as it goes through the water, as you've seen, when the blade turns, like you're bringing it back, the blade turns
Mm-hmm.
left, the bait turns right. So
Yeah,
it's counter itself every time it comes through the water like that. And
Yeah.
that's what's giving your vibration. But it was a thought on just geared towards spots. But the largemouth, as y'all have found out,
Oh, yeah.
the largemouth starts
well,
to
I
cook.
mean,
It's.
and
I
what
mean,
you
it's
were talking
phenomenal.
earlier when before we got started, you were talking about like and you just said like it was geared towards spotted bass, but I mean we've caught some pretty decent size largemouth on it,
Mm-hmm.
and and that was for me that would be one of the tests like I would do for I want to be able to catch a good sized fish and I want to see how well it holds up. If I have to, if I and once you unhook it and I'll look at it and see, all right, did it mangle up the the blade or did it mangle up the wire or anything like that? And and that's a lot of problems that when people try to make any kind of wired baits and stuff that I think they kind of and correct me if I'm wrong, Randy. They try to go cheap on that wire aspect of it. That it seems like it's a little weaker, and that like especially on some spinner baits, you can go and after two or three fish, you're already having to like retune that sucker back up to get it bent
Yeah,
back. And I'm not saying that your spinner baits or anything like that don't bend. We have bend them, but
right.
it does take a lot more effort and stuff like that uh, to have that done. And they do hold up. To me, they hold up a lot better. And I think that with that thicker wire, that it's actually like transmitting or translating that vibration
Mm-hmm.
of either um, the willow leaf or the Colorado blade or whatever blade that you have on it. It's actually, I think it's putting it all the way through, that it's giving that whole body is getting that whole vibration on it. Was that kind of fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say on that one. We worked on the spinner baits and everything. It's it it's all on. I don't want to give too many secrets away or anything, but
Mm-mm.
it's
No,
all
no,
on.
no.
It's It's measurements and everything. It's what we played with to get that vibration and still have the longevity of it, because you can get a lot more vibration out of a 35 thousandths wire. There's no doubt about it. But you're catching one or two fish and then you're cutting it off, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you're not boat flipping them on that, it'll straighten
No,
it and
no.
Yeah.
everything. You can boat flip them on mine and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'll tell
I
you
will
this.
contest to that too, because
Yeah.
that is so true. And the majority of them I did boat flip, because that was one of many things that I wanted to see is if that hook was going to straighten out, or if there was any kind of weak spots in it. But I'm telling you, man, this thing was well thought out. It was well designed, well built, and it is a catching machine. I
Yeah.
mean, an absolute catching machine.
So
I,
we not to cut you short, Pappy, but Brandon Thomas says, "What trailer are you throwing with it?" And so with the one that the micro one that we were throwing a Bruiser Super Swimmer Junior trailer on it. Um, and so that's the trailer that we were using, or we was using a Bruiser Sidekick, but shrinking. We were cutting the sidekick down to where it would fit the micro jig, or the micro
Mm-hmm.
vibrating jig. And he says, "What's the best vibrating jig out there?" Um, I think, Brandon, that it's all personal preference. You talk to somebody, and just like how I said earlier, like I used to be to where I wanted that blade ticking the 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 head of the jig, because I wanted that different sound. But once I started throwing it to where throwing Randy's vibrating jigs, if it was just your regular half ounce or if it was the micro, and his come up off of the head
Yep.
a little bit, to where I think I think what happens now is that there's so many people out there throwing a chatterbait right now, or a vibrating jig, that they're used to hearing that vibration and that ticking now. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're throwing something that's a little different. And we've seen over the past, I mean, especially the past year and a half to 2 years, when we've been throwing a lot of Randy's vibrating jigs, that we have seen, we've caught a lot more fish, even coming behind people that are throwing a vibrating jig. We're throwing a vibrating jig right behind them, and we're catching fish right behind them. So I think the fish have gotten used to knowing that that vibrating and ticking is coming from something that they don't want to hit.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
so,
And I tell you something else. Me and my brother, we went out to Niggajack, and we were. This is when the grass was just kind of subsurface, and I told him, and I had told him before we went out. I said, well, I said I got something. I'm fixing to throw on you, and I said it's a lure. I said it's made by a gentleman here local, and I said I'm fixing to wear you out on it. And Nigga Jack to me is that's kind of my nemesis. I mean I'm not, I can catch fish off Nigga Jack, but Chickamauga is where I fish predominantly. But we went out, and within I don't know 30 minutes, I done had four in the boat, and he was throwing a bigger style chatterbait, and I mean I was probably catching it 2 to his 1 when he finally started catching some, and then finally he's like, okay, I'm he said, you have wore me out. He said, what in the world are you throwing? And I showed him, and he's like, that little old thing right there. And I said, dude, I'm telling you, it is a catching machine. I said, and I told him about you, and he's like, well, do you got another one? I said, yeah, I got another one. And I gave it to him, and instantly started catching fish. I mean, he was like, "Oh my gosh, man!" He said, "I would have never thought the vibration on that little jig right there would throw as much as it does off." And I said, I said, man, it's phenomenal. I mean, I can go on and on about these little things. I'll shut up, but man, I mean, they're really great, really great. I love it.
Yeah.
But now I will also say though, your other ones, the bigger profile chatterbaits, they're the same way. I mean, it is insane of how much vibration, and that's what I like. I mean, you can go out here to these regular stores and buy these name brands and stuff, but it ain't nothing like you're doing. I mean, I know that for a fact. It ain't nothing like you're doing. I won't even pick up a jackhammer. Yours is the first one I've grabbed. Just so you know.
I appreciate that.
Well, what got what got you into where you're wanting to start hand painting your baits?
It was just I saw other guys doing it, and this is years back. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know what, I can do the same thing. And the first ones were atrocious. They were horrid, no doubt. I mean, it was beginner,
Yeah.
and it was like I need to rethink this. But just perseverance with it and everything,
Yeah.
then you get better with it. Uh, there was I don't remember the classic, but Randy Howell won it, and it was that
On
square bill
Gunners. Yeah.
crankbait.
Oh,
It,
Gunnersville, yeah.
it was on Gunnersville, and you could not get that black and chartreuse square bill nowhere, and
Mm-hmm.
they were selling for like $250 a piece, and so everybody
God.
wanted them. This was before the Alabama rig hit real
Yeah.
big and everything. But the Alabama rig hit right after that. But then it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna paint my own, and then a few guys were like, the same as like with the jigs and spinner baits. Hey, sell me some of those. And the next thing you know, but then the market got flooded, and then I quit. And so some of the other guys were asking, and I just really got back into it. What was it, year before last?
Yeah.
Into
It wasn't too long
airbrush,
ago. Yeah.
airbrushing again and everything, and it was just uh, the skill hadn't left me. I mean, it was still there. The first one I was like, hey, I can still do this and everything. So then more and more, and then you just venture out on patterns and
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah.
then next thing you know, you got 400 baits on the wall ready to put in the box and everything. And you're going, holy moly, where did deer season go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
I tell you, deer season went on just putting the hooks on them 400 baits.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I subcontracted that out, so
Yeah, I would too. I mean, because I a lot. Um, if I'm getting anything that has a treble hook, a lot of times I am swapping the trebles out on it. But and that's one thing that I hate doing is having to swap them things out and mess with them little O rings. I mean,
oh,
man, it just sucks, and let alone having to do if you got 400, that's 800 of them that
yeah.
you're having to do. So, uh, one thing that I thought, and I wish I've got it in my boat. I don't know if I've got one hanging up. You made a top water that had like a prop on the front and then had the frog on the back
Oh,
end of it.
yeah.
And when I first seen this thing, I was like, "What in the world uh, is Randy thinking right here?" And so I was like, "All right, I'm gonna give it a shot. I always have to try everything that I see that you get new or you bring out." And I was like, "All right, I'll try this thing." And I was quite impressed with how, like, even throwing it up on a mat, of how well I mean, you got the normal frog, but I
Right.
was able to kind of like slow reel it to have that prop just kind of like a buzz bait just on top. But then, like, ever so often, I was kind of just popping it. And, um, but I mean, I was thoroughly impressed. Where did you come up with something like that?
It's one of these crazy ideas that just popped in my head. I was like, you know what? Let's try it. what's the worst that can happen? Nobody like it or anything. Then let's
Yeah,
go out there and
right.
test it. So we went out, and naturally, it's long about the end of September, October time frame when the water goes down. You're fishing the grass a little bit
Right.
more and everything. Um, what we'd found on those is, when you come up on a mat and there's a hole in it and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So we'd throw across that hole and we'd buzz it across the open water, if you want to call it that, and then we would stop the blade on the grass, so the
Mm-hmm.
frog is still in the water. So
Like in the
that way,
hole. Yeah.
it's in the hole, but it's on the edge. Then you come back and you start just like a shaky head.
Yeah.
Just start shaking it, and so your legs on that frog are putting
Yeah.
out little ripples, and they'll come up and they were sucking it down. So it
Really.
was kind of, and then just started branching out from there on colors and that kind of stuff and everything. It just, but it was just something popped in my head. I was like, you know what? I think I can make this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had mentioned something earlier about like my favorite um, lure of yours is the underspin, and I mean I've got a whole tray full of just your underspins, and I I can't. I don't know any other company. I mean, the hardware and stuff that you use on it by far is a whole lot for me is a whole lot better because I like to on an underspin. I will like to just drag it on the bottom so that blade is getting beat up like crazy,
Yep.
and
Yes.
that's where a lot of them like where I will lose a lot of blades is because I'm pounding it on the bottom, and um, and so I had went into Jack's Bait and Tackle, and I had seen yours, and I was needing to get some, and so I started using them. And on that north end of Nickajack, I mean, I mean, it's all rocks, and you just pound. I mean,
Yep.
it's just, I was just beating them up, and to where I was having to go through, like on a tournament day, I was going through probably 4 or 5 of them just by dragging and beating them up, and I was like, man, I went through. I'm on my second one, and the first one I lost. So I and I to me, I mean, it's just when you finally get something that has good hardware and it's going to hold up. I mean, it is well worth going and filling up a tray full of the baits, and I don't know what kind of hooks that you're putting in on those things, but I mean, I've never had any issues out of any of the baits and stuff with the hooks. I mean, even going and catching. And again, I'm not saying that I have not had to sharpen a hook over. I mean, there is no hooks out there that you're not going to have
Right.
to if you go out there and catch enough fish. But it seems like you have taken your time and done your homework on the baits to be able to put the proper hook in there
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get the angler the most bang for the buck. I would
Yep.
say,
Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, just it's no secret or anything like that. I strictly must add. I'm
yeah,
must add all the way on
yeah.
everything. There's nothing out there that doesn't have a must add hook in it. I found that was the most dependable, and it held
Well,
up longest, and it gives you more bang for your buck.
well,
Yeah.
and like right now, I would say Mustad and those BKK hooks are probably the top, in my opinion, are the top hooks that are out on the market right now.
Yep.
And so, I mean, just as in durability wise, is
Yeah.
what I think. I
Yeah.
would go like on treble hooks. I like going more towards the BKK hooks.
Right.
And so, but um, I want to talk about being from Chattanooga and you're in the freshwater,
Yep.
but you've been, I don't know, what has it been, what, 4 years or so that you've been kind of dabbling in. It may be a little longer or whatever. That you've dabbled into the salt water, and you've
Right.
got some baits that I have seen, and which I had talked about earlier. That there's one bait in specific that I want to. I know it's going to catch fish on Chickamauga.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, but how did you go from living here in Chattanooga to doing freshwater? We get the freshwater because I mean, you're right around two of the best lakes in the country in freshwater.
Right. Right.
But how did you get into saltwater fishing?
Well, I've always saltwater fished and
Right.
everything. Never made gear for it and everything. I bought all my gear. Make a few hair jigs for like flounder and stuff like that, but never to the extent of what I've done now. 4 years ago, we actually went on a charter, and so we'd taken our boat down there, but we'd rented a charter. That way we could go out and kind of show us the ins and outs and everything, but explain to him, hey, this is why we've got you and everything. I don't want any animosity. If you don't want to show us anything, you know, we just want to get kind of, show us what to do. We're
Yeah.
going to go a few days and everything. We got him for 2 days and we fished for four on our own after that. But we
Mm.
went to a tackle shop, and this is what got me into it. And he said, just brought it up and goes, hey, I'm looking for a shrimp, but I'm looking for this specific shrimp that looks like this. I said, hey, I've got some that I made up that may interest you and everything. He looked at me and goes, what does a guy from Tennessee know about saltwater fishing? And I kind of, I chuckled about it, and I said, well, I've been doing it for a little while and all. Said, but, you know, so I brought him this bait, and so I send some down to the shop in Mississippi and everything. Since then, he was just like, when can I get some of these? I went, well, it's going to be a week before I'm back home, and probably another week or two before I can pour them. So, we just went from there. But this is kind of leading into what you were talking about
Yeah,
earlier with that shrimp bait and everything,
man, and
because
that
it's
sucker I have, in which there's so many baits and stuff that are companies that make a shrimp looking bait, but how realistic that your shrimp looks to me is just by far, I mean, it just
Yeah.
blows my mind, especially
Yeah.
again thinking you're from Chattanooga. What are you doing? You have no need to be in saltwater, and you're over here
right.
making these killer baits. And I know I talked to you like when y'all go to the Daytona show and what the
Yeah.
that Southern Mississippi show and stuff like that. That I mean, that's one of the baits that you cannot keep on the shelf. I mean, you never come home with any of them.
Right, right. Yeah, they snatch them up. It's kind of our price point and everything. Show pricing goes
Yeah,
from there naturally and all that. But, we scent infuse them. And so a lot of people aren't doing the scent infusion. And then they're not going, and they're all hand poured. So every single
yeah,
one of them are hand poured. So we can take the time in between the layers and everything and what they call a skin pour. So
yeah.
they're actually painted with it's a powder. So you're taking that in there and you're brushing every single one of them with the powder in
Wow,
order to get the look. And see, then you're
really?
coming back. Yeah, then you're coming back with the belly in like a shrimp pink or a shrimp orange and
Yeah,
everything. That's going to be your belly, just a lighter colored belly on that one with that darker back. And then that gives you your as you paint that on there, the powder, it sticks to like where it has the ribs in the
yeah.
mold. It
Mm-hmm.
sticks to those ribs a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more. So that gives you a darker, so you get like on your carapace and everything, you get the lines like on crawdad, the same as a shrimp, because those
Right.
are darker. They picked up a little more powder. So then when you pour them and everything, it all melts in and then you're good to go from there.
Oh
Really?
So
wow.
it's a process to make them,
Yeah,
but
I was about to say it. I mean, you just took to where I mean a lot of um, I guess a lot of the bait makers and stuff on that would be more of the injection molds and stuff. Is that
yes,
right?
yes.
So, um, but man, I mean I didn't know that it was all hand poured. I thought it was. that you was doing the injection molds as well on it. But
No, those shrimps are they're hand pours and
man,
everything, and we sit down there and we've got 6 molds, and so that's we do a dozen at a time. So then you're rolling out through there, and then
right,
whenever you pour them, you got to let them cool. So it takes a while to do a run of them and everything.
Yeah.
So, but with that said, you get other things going in the background. Like
right.
swim baits. You do your injection stuff, trailers, and that kind of stuff. You can still continue doing that with another color. Then you go back, you'll peel them out of your molds, send them to the water bath and everything. So they'll sit there and cure in a water bath. Then you bring them out there
Okay,
and you'll put them on a tray and I'll just air dry them. They'll have like a layer of paper towels and everything to soak up any kind of water and all that.
Hmm.
Then they'll go and I'll let them rest for 2 weeks. That way they cure completely.
yeah, and that was going to be a one that I was going to ask is because I know that like the injection molds, like theoretically, you at the minimum you want them resting for a day or two on the
Yes.
injection. And I didn't know if it was a different time period with the hand poured and painting them like that, if it would um if that would make a difference on it. But that's interesting. So do
Yeah, I
you
try.
pour do you pour the swim baits that you put, like you can get those underspins, just the plain underspins, but a lot of times like you will pour like the matching or it will have the matching swim bait on it. So do
Yes.
you pour those swim baits as well?
Yes, that those are injected. So those
Right.
are hand injections, of course. Um, just cause it'll take so long to pour those little ones like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a dual and a triple laminate on a lot of
Yeah.
them
Hmm.
and everything. So if you want like the sexy shad to give you the little yellow streak down the middle or the chartreuse streak down the middle of it, that'll be a triple. But a lot of them are just they're a dual uh, a dual injection to get that laminate and everything.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because and I try. I'm not saying I would not buy your underspins. That was just a bare underspin, just a hook, no bait on it. 9 times out of 10, I'm buying it that has the matching trailer on it because
Right.
it does come through. Um, it does come through the water a whole. I think. I mean, it just to make just to the eye. I'm thinking that
Right.
just looks so much sleeker and coming through. And I didn't know that. I didn't know if you bought those or if you poured those.
Now everything that pretty much everything that you see is all handmade. We make everything. Now the blades naturally we source them
Right,
out
right,
and
right.
all that,
Hmm.
and the wire and that kind of
Yeah, the
stuff.
hardware, not everything but the
Hardware and
hardware.
stuff,
Yeah.
but everything else it's made right here in the shop. That's where I'm sitting right now. Is in the shop. So, uh, but
So, um, let's say like somebody wants to, because we have a couple people that has commented like, where can I get them? And I don't know if they're from around here or not. It's showing that it's on YouTube. So how can people get a hold of you to be able, and or do you ship them, like would, let's say somebody from New York wants to get some of your baits, would you ship them to them, or
oh yeah,
how can
dude,
people get a hold of you?
I do that all the time, and most everybody they'll message me through Facebook. So all the information's there on the
Yeah,
Lurch's Lures page and everything.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, when you say New York, I've sent several to New York,
yeah,
California, Idaho. I mean, just about all the states, Texas, Florida. We ship it everywhere, and everything. Everybody that's pretty much local is they're ready at Jack's Bait and Tackle,
yeah,
that kind of stuff, because you just run over there. If they ain't, if they're sold out, naturally we'll have to put them back in and all.
yeah,
That's kind of like with the local guys. But anybody out of state, they can message me through Facebook,
yeah.
and
And there's a link in the description, guys, that for all of his social medias, but I made sure that the Facebook link is there, and all you have to do is just click on that link and follow and like, follow, and subscribe to his pages. and let him know that you've seen him on the Deck Talk podcast. But what about some? Uh, what shows are you going to be hitting here with within this next year?
Okay, we've got Pensacola in January. I'm actually geared more toward saltwater, and I only have one freshwater next year, and that's going to be in Cartersville. So I've got Pensacola, then I've got let's see, what was that other one? Jacksonville. So I've got Pensacola, Jacksonville, Cartersville, which is freshwater, and then Daytona. I I went down on the amount this year. It's just for the sheer distance that I'm having to travel
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
on these and everything
yeah,
because we're trying to open up more in the saltwater market and
right,
everything,
Yeah.
and that's because that's where pretty much I'll chase these greenfish still, but my passion's saltwater. I mean, it's
yeah.
100% saltwater.
Done
Well,
got the salt in the veins, huh?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
because and
yeah.
you'll go. That Cartersville is the Noe, right?
Is the no yes.
Yeah, and so it's gonna suck, Pappy, going to the East Tennessee and not going to the back wall and finding Randy there.
I know, right? Well,
So
Yeah, we're
guess we're
foregoing
going to Cartersville.
this year, but going to Cartersville, it's
yeah,
just the way that everything's syncing up and all
yeah.
Yeah.
that.
Well, there's only
Between the
so
two
many
ships.
so many hours in the day, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so, um, but talking about your passion with being the saltwater, you do something that I think is crazy as all get out, and
I don't. I like it.
I think you got to be half nuts to do this. But you take a jet ski, which you can talk if you don't mind talking about your jet ski and like how you kind of have it rigged up and stuff. But you take a jet ski offshore,
Right.
and you earlier you was like, yeah, it's nothing for me to go 10, 12 miles offshore, and you told us like the farthest that you went out was like 35, 36 miles, and I'm over here thinking, golly, Randy, you are nuts. But
Yeah.
so how did you get into? I can understand doing the saltwater. Everybody enjoys doing saltwater fishing, but how did you get into wanting to take a jet ski? I mean, instead of going and taking a boat and stuff.
Well, it was looking at buying boats and everything and doing it yourself. And I like to do my own thing and all that.
Right.
So it all boils down to cost. So
Yeah.
got to looking on the forums and everything and looking at what these guys in Australia were doing. And I was like, if they can do it in Australia, we can do it here. So I
Right.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
these guys they're going miles and miles, 70, 80 miles offshore. So
Yeah.
it's been so I bought it's a Fish Pro uh uh trophy. So, and it's set up. It's got a swivel seat on the back. You can pop up on there. So, like if you want to run out to any of the man-made structures and everything, and do a
Right.
Yeah.
drift on it, you can just shut her down, and then I'll pop that seat in the back there, and so I'll fish off that, and it's just bottom jigging. And let the current take you over all the structure and everything. Sometimes you're fishing some dead water, but then you're going to go over another, car. Sometimes they drop cars, they'll drop rail cars and stuff like that in there. And then,
Right.
you're just jigging over all that stuff and everything. But it was just main thing, if cost effective, I can go out and I can fish a whole day on 18 gallons of gas to where the big
Crazy.
Really.
boats, they're blowing through,
Oh
100
yeah.
gallons of gas, and
Yeah.
everything. So it was,
And
it was cost effective.
yeah. And so when you ran out that 30, 35 miles and stuff, did you have to take extra gas out there?
No, no, I get out of 18 and a half gallons, I get about 130, 135 miles to a tank of gas.
Right.
So there was no worry about anything. And that was more of a test whenever I done that, just to see what it was going to do. And then because when you're out there, single engine, you don't shut it off. It's one of those that if I'm closer to shore, I will shut it off. But when I go that far out, I leave it running. and I
So
just
it
wanted
idles all the whole time.
so it idles the whole time. So then you're doing a deep drop and that kind of stuff, and then you're coming back. You're working your way back in slowly. On
Yeah.
that kind of run and everything, because I mean that's 70 miles round trip. So then you've got roughly another what on 70 at 130, you got another 60 miles. Well, between idle and everything, you just start working your way back, and also you're going to burn through. I think I had on that trip about an eighth of a tank left whenever I put it on the trailer,
Oh
but
wow. So
it does great on gas
what's the purpose of uh leaving it idling it like that?
in case it don't crank back up.
Okay. Well, I mean that's what I thought, but I wanted to make
Yep,
sure I wasn't missing
That's kind of.
anything.
I guess that's
yep,
kind of like how we don't turn our McKee trucks off,
right.
Yeah.
just for
Yeah.
that fact.
Yeah,
So
whenever you're offshore, single engine and everything, you'll see even the outboard guys. They don't
Yeah.
shut down. They leave them running the whole time because
Okay.
makes a lot of sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's you're so far out there, which uh, I've got towboat, and I've got towboat
Hmm.
offshore, so it's
Right.
just one of those. They'll come out there and get me, but you may be looking at 4 hours that
Right.
far offshore.
Yeah.
That you're floating around out there, and depending on the current, you're going farther away from them.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
you. It could be easily the where I mean, you give them your GPS locations, but you're still drifting, and
Right,
so
right. So, and then,
uh,
you go on radio and that kind of stuff. And a lot of guys out there offshore, you take marine radio, you got to have all that equipment to go out
Yeah.
there. You got
yeah,
the spot and everything. Make sure you got your EPIRB. I've got like a little life raft as well in case it goes down because one actually sunk out there last year.
really,
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it was the jet ski sunk on him, but he was with his buddies and everything and rode
Yeah.
back. But that's what everybody was joking about it. Hey, I need them coordinates so I can go fish that. When
yeah,
Now, we were at the Chattanooga show. What I guess it
last year,
last year. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, last year, and I got to see. I think you had two of them there, didn't you?
no, I just had the one jet ski.
The one,
Yeah,
and the setup is phenomenal to look at. First of all, and it'll absolutely. I mean, it blew my mind. Uh, did you just get kind of? Did you? Well, did you design it like that, or did you buy it like that, or
Sea-Doo worked all that out over the years. See, I
okay,
think they've had that out since like 2014, and so they just improved
okay,
on it and everything. And the 170, and that's what I fish off of is the 170 Fish Pro
hmm,
trophy. It's naturally aspirated. I didn't want a turbo. I didn't want none of that, a supercharger or anything, because that's any pressure you put on the pistons, the mains, and that kind of stuff is just more trouble down the road.
yeah,
right,
It's not the fastest ski out there. It runs in the mid 50s and all.
hmm,
There's some that are out there a lot faster than that. But I just wanted something that I didn't. I wanted longevity and everything, and
yeah,
right,
dependability and fishability. And as you
right.
saw in that one, I mean, it's got the cooler on the back, come with all the
Oh
rod
yeah,
holders and everything. Now I bought some extra ones to extend it because I'm about like every other fisherman. One more rod on the ski or the boat, it ain't gonna hurt you. That kind
no,
of stuff.
right,
So, and then the cooler, use the cooler for like the snacks and everything, waters and stuff like that. Because being that far offshore, the sun is your enemy. You have no shade out there
hmm,
and everything.
yeah,
Uh, and then you bring your fish back in like a fish bag. So that goes in between the
yeah,
cooler and the seat. So we just load the fish bag up and then go from there. But it's pretty much, I really didn't design anything on that. I just was researching it, and Sea-Doo made the best one. I think Yamaha's come
okay,
out with a pretty cool one. It's got me interested in it, but it just all comes down to price point on that one.
yeah,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, yeah.
So do you have to
Yeah,
have like a certain license to be able to do that?
Well, just your offshore, just your saltwater license for the state and everything.
Yeah,
And then when you go so far offshore, you get in international waters, and and it's kind of one of those that um, I'm not real sure when you get in international waters. I just kind of use the hey, I'm coming out of Alabama, and that's mostly where I fish out of is the Alabama when I go offshore like that. Go out of
Right,
Fort
right.
Morgan and around because you're so close. There's so many rigs right in that 3 miles ashore, 3 or 4 miles ashore
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
why would you go anywhere else? You know, when you have to make a long run because you can just hop from one rig to the other and you name mangroves, you know,
right.
cobia, Spanish as you were talking about earlier. Kingfish on the way out, looking for some trash to see if there's any mahi and everything. So, and then doing some trolling. Sometimes I just troll on the way back in and see what you pick up. You know, and every
Right.
once in a while, I've yet to do it, but I'm wanting to is pick up a wahoo.
Oh man,
Oh wow.
that would
Yeah.
be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, um, does because the Gulf Stream comes in closer in the Gulf than it does like if you was to go on the East Coast out of like let's just say Daytona or Jacksonville or something like that.
Right,
Because out that way, I think what the Gulf Stream is 50, 60 miles out. But
right.
um, so when you're going out that 10 to 12 miles, are you actually getting into the Gulf Stream?
You know, I'm not real sure on that to be honest with you. Um, I don't know how the Gulf Stream works since kind of you're in the Gulf already. I'm not sure
Right,
if that's kind of a what's filtering out of the Gulf and running around the Panhandle. You know what I'm saying on that?
right,
Hmm.
right,
I
Yeah.
don't know I don't know how that works. Just to be honest with you on that one, it's all there's different currents whenever you're out there. One day, you may be going west to east. The next day, it's going north to south. It just currents are always varying out there, and you're just playing currents on all that. And then the speed of the current, you'll set up on a rig and you'll fight a fish, then you'll look up and you're nearly a mile off of it by the time you reel him up and everything because the
really.
current has pushed you that far out and everything. Then
Yeah.
sometimes you can just sit right on the rig. But to answer your question, I'm not real sure about the Gulf Stream on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
Because I
have you used any of your uh, maybe your bigger profile freshwater out in the while you're saltwater fishing?
Oh yeah. I've used chatterbaits or the bladed jigs. Sorry, the bladed jigs.
Yeah.
I've used them on redfish. The redfish, they'll smoke them.
Yeah.
Trout, that small one, I'll catch speckled trout on that small one, on the micro one, and everything.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. They love that little bladed jig. Um,
Yeah.
I'll
now
throw a. I've got a just like a regular, if you want to call it. It's just a round head jig, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
make a it's a fiddler crab that I have the mold for. So I'll make a
Mm-hmm.
fiddler crab and I'll toss them on for sheep's head.
Oh man. That's what I've caught several sheep's head. I've and doggone what's those you can it's kind of like the bass fishing in the mangroves. What am I trying to think of? I don't know. It'll come to me here in a
those
little bit.
snooks,
Snook, snook,
Snooks, yes. Oh, I
yeah.
caught a 6 pound snook a few years back, and man, I decided right then. I thought, man, I don't know if I want to catch anything any bigger than a 6 pound out of the ocean. I mean, it was a job just trying to get that thing in.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Well, that's what got into my blood right there. The closest thing
Yeah,
to me in freshwater, fighting wise, is a smallmouth
yeah,
compared to the saltwater side of it.
yeah,
You get a good
yeah,
smallmouth on there, especially like in the wintertime, you're just holding
yeah,
on to that thing. I mean, it's mean as can
yeah,
be.
yeah.
now you have a I cannot think of the name of it for the life of me. But I know as soon as I describe it, you're going to be able to tell me. It has a swim bait and it comes up, but then it has a Y and you got two blades coming
No,
up that
yeah, you're talking about a spot spin.
spot spin. I knew it was something spin. I could not, but
Yep.
that thing right there, Now, talking about a smallmouth killer right there, I have destroyed some smallmouth on it. And I have you taken that and gone after some big reds and stuff, throwing that?
I have not yet, anyways, and everything because you know, as you said earlier, I make so much stuff. There's only so much stuff you can try, whenever you're out there and all that.
Yeah,
Then, whenever you get to catching fish on something, you don't want to put it down. And
yeah,
actually, nobody's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm catching. I'm not going to try anything different." We haven't tried that down there yet, but I'm curious on what that's going to do uh, for mangroves myself, for mangrove snapper. I really
yeah,
want to try that on some bridge pylons and everything. Bring that through there, see how the mangroves react to it.
yeah. Which I had a buddy that decided that he was going to take a. He went down and was trying to catch some reds, and he took an A rig down there, which the A rig did not last. Them reds just blew that sucker up,
Yep.
and uh, he only caught one fish off of it, and he sent me a picture of it, and it was mangled. And so,
Yep.
but I could just imagine though what that spot spin would do. I guarantee you that I mean you could catch some fish off of that sucker down there too.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, I guarantee you could. Anything that's a moving bait like that. I mean, a lot of people they say that with saltwater, when they're eating, they'll eat a flip flop if you throw it out there at them. And
Yeah,
to a degree, that's true. But then you got to get into sometimes when they shut off, you got to get in that finesse, that finesse bite and
oh
start
yeah,
throwing finesse stuff at
Yeah.
them.
yeah. So, well, Randy, man, I don't. We're almost here at an hour, and we don't want to take up too much more of your time, brother. Um, but we have one question that we ask everybody, and we do not want to leave you out on that question. But Pappy, you want to take it away, brother?
Yes, sir. Be my honor. But Randy, first and foremost, brother, I want to appreciate. I just want to say I thank you for everything that you've done and allowing us to test your baits. And man, they're phenomenal. I mean, as always, I have nothing but good things to say about them. And we appreciate you coming on the podcast. But with that being said, if there was one person that you could get on your jet ski or your boat uh, and take them fishing, whether they be here with us now or moved on, who would that person be and why?
Well, I would have to say it'd be Ike. Iconelli. I mean, just because they call me crazy for going offshores, and I can't think of anybody that's crazier than that guy right there. He's a
You
nut.
got that right.
That would be so much fun to go out there and just do something. Everybody's going,
Oh,
y'all,
I
y'all
guarantee
talk
you,
about brain.
I
Yeah,
guarantee you,
yeah.
he would go out there with you on that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh, y'all just run side by side on those sea doos and going out there. I guarantee you, he would go out there. And
yeah.
so,
That
Heck,
would be.
he might even put on a wig and a dress for you.
yeah,
Well,
he's been known to do that a time or
Yeah,
two.
he has been known to do that.
So,
like I
But
said, it's not the first time I've been called crazy. So
yeah.
so
I like the idea. I truly do. I think that'd be something I'd like. I wouldn't mind doing. I mean, I don't know if I'd go out as far as you do, but that'd be something that would really it piques my interest. I will say that it definitely
yeah,
piques my
it
interest.
does. It definitely does. Um, hey, Pappy, let's before we get off here.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell us what we're going to be doing, like with the salute to valor? What we're kind of changing on that a little bit?
Yeah, so the salute to valor, we're actually going to be adding our first responders to the salute to valor as well. We much thought has went into it. These guys, these men and women, they put their life on the line just like our men and women do in uniform. So they're more on the home front, but yeah, we've talked about it. We just got a few things that we gotta get together on it, and but we will start doing first responders also as a salute to valor.
Yeah. And so we're going to get a challenge coin made for our first responders as well. But with that being said, I want to say, Randy, thank you for your time. I know that you served this great country as well, and so we want to say thank you.
Yes.
We actually have a coin for you that the next time we see you, we're going to make sure that we get it to you. So,
I
but
appreciate
Randy,
that.
Absolutely.
uh, with that being said, next week we're still going to dabble into the freshwater and the saltwater. We are going to have a lady on that is from Charleston, South Carolina, and we're going to have her name is Katie Joe. A lot of people know her as Pluff Mud
That
Princess,
name, that name
and
kills me.
so we're going to have her on, and we're going to talk about some cast netting and doing some saltwater fishing and some freshwater, and so it's going to be a interesting podcast as well. So stay tuned. But again, guys, we have Lurch's Lures links in the description. Make sure you go click those links and hit that
Get
like,
his stuff.
follow, and subscribe, and leave him a message. Tell him that you saw him here on the podcast, and it won't do you no good. Besides, he will probably charge you double for actually listening to us. But we, but
It's
yeah,
still
guys,
worth it. It's still
yeah,
worth
it is worth it. So, but Randy, thank you again, brother, for
it. Yeah,
coming
thank you,
on,
man.
and we're looking forward to this fall and actually getting those micro bladed jigs out and smashing
Well,
some big old smallmouth on it. So,
Got the
there's
word
a
right.
few things in the works that's coming out in the fall too. So
oh
just
heck
hold
yeah,
on.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
we definitely are. So we're gonna get off here, and I hope you have a blessed day. And guys, remember, God loves you as if you're the only person in this world to love. And we will see you next week, guys.
Peace out.